Hey, it's Anthony, and today we're going to destroy some titanium. So I hope everybody's finding this pretty well, and we're going to get started. So, in talking with a bunch of the people that I talk with on a daily basis, and with lasers and all that, titanium is something that gets brought up a lot, but there's still kind of a shroud of mystery around it, I guess, to a certain extent. I mean, there are plenty of people that use titanium, but not a lot of people that share their settings or like good practices and stuff like that. So for people who are just getting started or who want to learn a little bit more about the metal, there's just not a lot out there as far as like resources and knowledge. So we have a 2 millimeter thick, 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter piece of titanium. So we're going to do some experimenting today and figure out what some good practices are, maybe some good settings, maybe even luck into some colors. That's part of why I bought this. Was there was a user on Discord who wanted to do color on cards. Hey, what's up, Toke, Toke, Nathan? Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate you making it. Um, so there's a user on Discord who was trying to do titanium business cards and wanted to do red on it, and he wasn't able to. What's up, Cheese? So since he wasn't able to do the colors, I was trying to figure out like a way that maybe we can help out people who want to do certain things. So basically, I bought this sheet for us to tear apart and learn some stuff about titanium today. So yeah, the first thing is there's like 5 different grades of titanium that are like commercially available. And so it's grade one is considered pure titanium, I guess. And then two, three, four, and five have different levels of like alloys mixed in for different purposes and whatnot. So, grade five is an alloy that's considered to be fairly corrosion resistant, from what I read, if I remember correctly. I read a lot, so sometimes I forget. But yeah, so this is, I mean, laser cut. You can see, you can see that little groove right there. It looks like they cut it right there with the laser, but it's got some kind of scorchy ends too. But yeah, titanium's a super cool metal. I love titanium personally. It's probably my favorite non-precious metal. I like jewelry and stuff made with it, and I like lasering it because it's actually really cool. On the diode chat today, we were talking about a process we use titanium dioxide, which is commonly available. It's used in like soaps and other things I think cosmetics, where they want to even like the consistency of it and make it white. So this titanium dioxide powder is added to a lot of different things. It's also used in paint, spray paint. So there's this thing called, can you use the same settings for color on stainless and titanium? No. Stainless is a ferrous metal. Um, so I guess there's non-ferrous stainless, but basically the stainless is going to react far differently from heat than any other metal, really. So stainless doesn't really relate or translate over to titanium, I don't believe. But we're going to try and find some good settings for getting titanium colors. There's some stuff I had a video up that I'm going to try and reference, and we'll see what we can pull up. So let me go grab some gloves real quick. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. So I'm still trying to get my shop put back together. I've spent the last several weeks working out of the house because my CO2 hasn't been squeezed through my front door yet. So I haven't had the chance to undo what I did to my laser room. So I'm kind of like running off at two computers. One's going to be used to run the laser, and one's going to be used to kind of run this and set up some stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna switch over to the laser camera real quick. And how do I do this? It's only my second time using this. I apologize. Boom. So there we go. That should give us a pretty good. Want to turn the key? No. Emergency stop first. Wait. This laser, I'm still trying to get the hang of. It's only got an e-stop and an ignition switch. And if I turn the ignition switch on without turning the e-stop on or off, I guess technically, it discharges the laser. So I try to avoid that as much as possible. And then if I turn off the key, or if I turn off the e-stop before I turn off the key, then it'll discharge the laser too. So nothing like the first laser I got that has 3 switches, and if I go left to right turning it on and right to left turning it off, I never have any issues. So all right, we're gonna have to probably move that down a millimeter because we were using a coin on there last time. And there we are. Got that focus down a millimeter. So if you guys have any specific questions or requests, hey, Bronson made it. What's up, buddy? If you guys have any specific questions or requests, then feel free to ask, because I didn't really have time, because I've been working on all these CO2 projects, to like sit down and come up with like a plan. So more or less, we're just going to kind of go by the seat of our pants and see what we got going on. So first thing of note with titanium is that it is a very reactive metal to the laser. So when you hit it with high amounts of power, you get high amounts of fireworks, which is one of the reasons that I think lasering titanium is cool. So I'm going to get logged in. Is Friday night a good night for you guys to do stuff like this? I want to kind of maybe do it more regularly. I figure Friday night or Saturday night is probably the better time to set these up. But I know a lot of people have a long day. Tried running 2 lasers with 2 instances of Lightburn 1.7 beta. Couldn't get the second one to work. Is there something I'm doing wrong, or is it a Lightburn limitation? It shouldn't be a Lightburn limitation, but asterisk, there is a, I mean, it's a beta, so I don't know. I have multiple computers hooked up to mine right now. Let me power on my 30 watt. And this one is going to 50 watt 110. And then I'll open another window. Oh, shoot, I forgot. I'm running 1.6 on this one. Doggone it. Shoot. I know I have one machine with the beta. I think it's my laptop I'm running this off of, so I may not be able to test this for you. Yeah, this one's the one with the 1.7. I guess I could close everything down and just do a quick update. I think I have that saved in my Google Drive. And we'll test it out and see if it's a you thing or a me thing or a we thing. Download. File type might be dangerous. Thanks, Google. So yeah, I'm gonna just download that and install it real quick. It shouldn't take too long. Downloads. Where did that just go? 1.6 is there? Oh, there it is. Just took a minute. So we'll go to the 1.7 beta. I always hate updating stuff or installing stuff on Windows. All right, so we're gonna launch. All right, so we are running 1.7 now, and I'm hooking up to my 50-watt fiber. And then I'm gonna right click on the icon, launch a secondary window. And so I'm gonna make a square real quick because it looks like they're both connected, but we shall see. Well, F1. All right, so I am connected to the 50-watt, but I don't, that's not the right laser. Just come over here and make another box and frame it. Yeah, I'm connected to both lasers and they're both, Alt tab over that other one. So you can see, go back to the right, I think it was port 6, framing. There you go. So you can see that one is framing right now. And then you can also see that, come on, go to 2. What are you doing? There we go. Oh, because it's behind. I'm sorry. I'm looking at, right, yeah, watch pot. Same thing happened to you, so it's on mine. Yeah, it's. I think that probably is because that's the reason is I'm on the wrong camera. Big knucklehead. All right, so there is 3. I don't know. You can't really see it, but it's framing. You saw it on the other camera, and then if we go to 2, then there you go. You can barely in the center of the screen see the framing light. The lighting in here is almost too good. I don't know if that helps. You can see the framing, but it's running a red light. So both lasers are connected. Both lasers are framing. So I would say you might have an issue maybe with a USB cable or a software issue with your computer. Maybe, I don't know, man. I'm not quite sure. It's hard to say. We can pick Kyle's brain. He might be here in a few minutes and see if he might have an idea of what it might be as well. So let's go back. All right, so we're back on that one. You can see the framing and stop. All right. Yeah, it might be the USB hub. Sometimes if you have it set to auto, one laser will connect to a port and then the other instance of Lightburn will try to connect to the same port, but that one's already taken or connected because the one instance of Lightburn's connected to it. So you might have to just go through and manually select some ports and see if maybe that helps to check the USB driver installed on both systems. Yeah, that could be a thing too. He's trying to run 2 windows of Lightburn at the same time on the same computer if I understood the question correctly. So it's probably something super simple. All right, so Mike C made it. Thanks for showing up, Mike. Appreciate it, man. All right, so I promised some fireworks and I need to make good on that. So does everybody here or anybody here ever run a test grid in Lightburn? I can say I've been using it for a couple of years now, and I have actually never gone and done a test grid. You know, 4 lasers hooked up, and only run one at a time. Huh. Yeah, I have 3 Galvos hooked up to this. I'm I should be embarrassed. I don't know if I am or not. Maybe I shouldn't be embarrassed. I don't know. But I have this janky USB hub that my wife bought me at like Five Below that that I use. And it's kind of ridiculous, but it works for right now. And so yeah, I have three USB ins and then USB-C, and I have 3 Galvos hooked up to that, and then I unplug and replug if I need to use a diode because I have a couple of those too. So yeah, one of these days I will upgrade. It's on my long to-do list. So
Hey,
look, it's a Kyle.
what up, G?
What's up, dude? Nothing, just getting started.
Sorry I'm late.
Yeah. Oh no, you're not late, dude. You're not late at all. We were just barely. We haven't even fired the laser in anger yet. We had a couple questions. Mickey in chat asked if 1.7, the beta, had something in it that would not allow you to run like concurrent instances of Lightburn and control 2 different lasers. And I hadn't tried running 2 lasers yet off of it, so we just tried, and it worked. So I think he might have a port issue or a hub issue.
Yeah, maybe. It could also be if you have the one laser already running and that is your default laser for when you open Lightburn as the software. It can also generate a conflict where the new version of Lightburn is either trying to or is taking the active connection away from the first one. So double check which one is set as your default. For that reason, I actually in the 2 newest versions of Lightburn, including the beta, or not including the beta has it though. You can make a no machine device. It functions like a CO2, but it doesn't connect to anything. So that's how I get around that. The other thing I would do is I would just use my CO2 gantry as my default device. And if I was running that, I would just make that my second device or my last device I connect to, basically.
Makes sense. So I've made 2 confessions so far. Confession number 1 was that I've never made a test grid in Lightburn.
What? You gonna learn
Yeah.
today?
Then confession number 2 was that my USB hub is something my wife bought me from Five Below for $5 or less. So
Does it work?
it does, yeah, surprisingly.
All right then. I don't see a problem. I don't see a problem.
Maybe
I have 4,000 notifications on my phone all of a sudden.
I was trying to get the boys settled so they can watch some Netflix and hang out, and my phone started going nuts. And it was my uncle. He sent me a picture of his foot that he dropped, like, like the old school irons, like from before electricity, where they would put it on the oven or the stove and heat it up. And it was just like, it was literally a piece
I have one of those.
iron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently that fell off the counter and landed on his foot.
Oh.
And he's lucky it's not broken, but it
no.
looks gnarly. So if I'm going to do a count of 10 squares, and we're going to go for kilohertz up to 150. So should I do minimum of...
Are you building this out manually, or are you using the
Yeah.
test tool?
No, I'm using the material test generator. I'm just trying to figure out what range I should use. Maybe 150, 30 to 150. Yeah,
what's your power range going to be?
I think I want to go like 30% to 80% ish.
On the 50 watt?
50, 60, 70, 80. So that'd be 6. Yeah, on the 50 watt.
Are you going for colors or just engraving?
I want to show like different power levels and different frequencies for like the effect of the engrave on titanium, because it can get really sloppy if you are doing too much power and too much if you have it like peak kilohertz, I think.
Yeah, so, it throws like slag, and it's very active.
The surface, yeah, and the surface of the metal actually gets like imperfections in it too. Yeah. So kind of like when we were doing that superconductor the other day, where it was like, seemed like it was actually building up the metal instead of engraving it away. So
the one opportunity that I got to mess with titanium wasn't really an engrave, but I did anneal it, and I remember it being at like 200 kilohertz. So you're probably not going to be doing much engraving at that frequency. But if that helps.
At what frequency? Sorry.
When I annealed titanium, I was at something like 30 power, 200 kilohertz.
Oh, okay. So
I'm real slow. So I don't know if that helps for feedback. But
yeah, I was thinking about like 30 to 150. 150 is probably about the highest. I can't remember what. I want to say we were doing like 120 at one point during that coin. So I figured we go a little bit past that.
Yeah. Also, don't stab me.
Don't stab you?
Yeah.
Okay. Pre-planning multiple grids. I'm doing one right now just to see how it turns out. I said at the beginning of this, like this, I'm just kind of freebasing this. I didn't have enough time to plan out what I wanted to do. So if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, any suggestions, we are wide open to that, because it's kind of the blind leading the blind right now. Just kind of trying to learn about it at the same time as we do it. So Why didn't that work? Laser tools, material tests. Oh, so it doesn't like show up the material test on your desktop, does it? On your workspace?
Mm-mm. But you can frame. You can do a. Oh my god, I can't remember the word. The outer box frame. You can see the outer box frame.
Can I jog it around?
You should be able to
Okay.
when you're in the framing menu. One thing though, on the bottom of the generator, there's a slider for the exterior line, the contour cut line. You're probably going to want to turn that off. That's more for like if you're cutting out test swatches on like a gantry kind of thing, and it's going to eat into your usable space if you wanted to do like another test.
All right, what now? On
Border on the bottom, you're probably going to want
border
to turn that off. Like cancel that. Oh, all right, that works. There's an enable border slider on the bottom.
that guy. Yeah. Okay.
So you're good. You're good. So that's the only thing I was saying. I would just turn off, because what it's going to do is it's going to make a bigger box around everything. Like it's designed to be used as a cut layer. So like
yeah.
if you're doing a test grid that you want to cut out on like some new wood or something, and you want to use that as a test swatch for a customer, kind of deal.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what it'll look like. How do I change these edit material settings? There we go. All right. So I'm thinking what? 250. And then it won't let me do line interval. Oh, because it's in line mode. Yeah. How do I, where does that? All right. So frame and go back to that guy. It's not frame.
It should be.
Oh, jeez, I'm such an idiot. All right. Hang on a minute.
Is your lens cap on?
No, you can see the red dot there, so it's not that. It's just me being dumb, that's all.
Hi, Mochi. My puppy's upset because she hears thunder and lightning. Oh.
All right. He was working on the other system. Yeah, I was working on the one that's not connected to the stupid lasers because I'm a genius like that.
Whoopsies.
Yes. So we're going 30 to 150. And that's about the time that everybody checked out.
No.
Okay. No border. Edit material setting. 250. Fill shapes individually. We go with 0.020. Hey, look at that.
There you go.
It's a miracle.
Is that the entire test grid?
Yeah. I haven't set up for 3mm squares, but that doesn't quite seem right, does it?
You didn't focus? You over focused? No. That makes it look like it's a 400mm by 400mm titanium sheet. Is it 3x1 you got going on?
I think this
That
thing.
could be why.
I think this thing swapped devices on me when I was over here trying to screw around and answer that question.
Yeah,
earlier.
that might could have bugged it out.
It's kind of a bummer that this doesn't save, so now I got to go back through and do it again.
You can save it. You can save it.
Oh yeah, look right there, save. Huh.
Up on top. You can save it as a preset.
So what are you working on tonight, Kyle?
I'm working on my dinner in a minute. I didn't really have any projects planned, but I was supposed to get back to testing some rotary stuff today, and I never got to it. So maybe I'll mess with that a little bit.
Good old rotary stuff, huh?
Yeah. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
All right, so we should have a material test ready to rock right about. There we go. All right. Sorry for the slow start, guys. Just trying to get this set up right. We're learning together. All right, so that looks good enough. Let me grab my safety goggles. What power and frequency you cooking that dinner at? He took off, didn't he? Yeah. All right. Is the other one framing? He was working on the other system. Yep. We all want to learn. Yep. Well, apparently the way I learn is by making dumb mistakes. So, all right, here we are, ready to rock and roll. And
I'm back, sort of.
and he's back.
No dumb mistakes. Just happy accidents.
There we go. You can see as we go. Woo, man.
Woo. There's
Hey,
your
we got
reactivity in titanium, man. You already got color going too.
I got a blue.
And the beautiful part about titanium is it doesn't rust, so you don't have to worry about it like flaking off later. What power and frequency you cooking that dinner at? Like 8,000 BTUs. It's not really a frequency. I guess that's sort of a measurement of power, right?
Sort of.
Yeah.
In a thermal sense. Why does it seem like some of these are all engraving at the same time? Nope, it's not. It's just fanning out that bad. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, dude. That will throw sparks like nobody's business.
Yeah. It legit looks like it's burning 3 rows at one time, but it's just fanning out so hard. And I didn't tape off my vent again, so it's not giving full suction. In fact, it's not giving any suction because I haven't turned that on yet either.
Whoopsies.
Yeah. I'm going to mute myself.
Yeah, Michael, got my dinner focused in. Some egg noodles and beef. It was a kind of a weird day. Everything got all mixed up. So, late dinner.
Unmuted, and it looks like we're done.
Looks like we got a beautiful range of color there. Got a little bit of everything. Ooh.
Yeah, that's I don't know. From some angles, it looks kind of copperish, and some angles it gives off a red hue. And we got some pinks. I'm gonna switch cameras real quick.
Pretty.
All right, so we got gold, blue, reds. Hey, look, Michael's here. I can get most of those colors with a torch. Yeah, well, I don't have a torch, so.
You got a precision torch that also happens to ablate metal.
Cool. All right, so you can kind of see. You can't really see it too well. I'm gonna go switch cameras back over to the phone and see if it'll pick it up better. But basically, you can see where some of the lower kilohertz, higher powered ones, you end up with roughness to the engraving. So some of those darker grays, it's like it's got grit inside the engraving where it like just hit it with too much power and too much frequency, because those were, let's see, yeah, the 70 and 80%, and the kilohertz ranges were in like 73 and 80. So we can do some more if anybody's interested in seeing more, or we can, I need a picture of that test. Okay, yeah, I will I'll get a picture of it and post it on Discord. And then I'll also save the Lightburn file and I'll drop that on Discord too. So, and on the side of the grid, does it show you what color is what? No, we weren't really like going for color. We were just experimenting, seeing what gets what. And you can see, if I could, so the right hand side is going to be, it's really hard to see because the text just didn't really show up very well, but this is 30% power moving up to 80%, and then 30% power and 30 kilohertz moving up to 150 kilohertz. So, oh, none of that was on camera. So 30, 80%, 30 kilohertz, 150 kilohertz. So you can see the combination there. Man, we're getting some good color at that 30% range and the higher kilohertz. How would you zero in on that blue at the bottom in order to repeat it? I would say that's going to be 30, 40, 50, right? So 50% power and the 150 kilohertz range. So we could try and replicate that just with a test square. So I'm going to make a square. We'll make it 5 millimeters. And so we did, and we could really mess around with line interval too, because we did, it was 250 speed. We'll nail 150 kilohertz. Power, we'll hit it 50, since that seems to be the column, the power column that was in. And then fill, and I think we were going 0.020 for the line interval. And so we can hit F1. There we are. We're framing. So we could try, green is the hardest anodized color to get with titanium. Oh, okay. Interesting to know. All right, so we'll hit that real quick. And you can see some of the testing when you do a grid like this, it's a good idea, because you can see now there's a transition from the bottom of the square where it started to the top of the square where it ended. And annealing is all about heat. So when you're doing a test grid like the one we just did, you're doing a lot of engraving in a smaller area. So the heat really builds up. So it kind of, I guess, can kind of trick you into thinking that those settings are exactly what you need in order to get the desired result. But now what we just did here, we just used 50% power and 150 kilohertz. Same settings, same speed, same everything. And you can see the heat ramped up as we progress through that square. So maybe we need to slow down a little bit and let the heat build up. So let's drop that to 100. You can modulate the speed, or you can modulate the line interval, which essentially does the same thing. You're slowing your progression across the square. So let's actually leave the speed there, and then let's change that line interval.
Another option too, to kind of even it out, sometimes a crosshatch helps.
What's that,
At
bud?
least sometimes a crosshatch can help too, at least when I'm doing colors on titanium.
Yeah, I'm sure
It can help even
crosshatch.
out indifferences across the span.
We can try one with a crosshatch too here in a sec. Or actually, what we could do is just, I'll duplicate this. And then we'll change colors on it. So then we'll do speed 250, max power at 50, frequency at 150. And we can do 0.020 and a crosshatch. So I added a crosshatch to the other one, but I think we're just going to run it again with the tighter line spacing, and then we'll do the other one with the more open line spacing, same speed, but just with a crosshatch. So let's give that a shot. Titanium doesn't turn red, more of a pink also. Yeah, that's I've never been able to get a red result. I always ended up with blues and purples, and for sure the reds do tend to look a little bit more pink from what I've noticed. All right, so that's done. Just from what I've seen, like online, things that people have done. So yeah, that was a really good blue. Is that the blue that you were looking for? I can't remember who asked that question. It was Mickey, I think. Was that you, Mickey, that asked that?
Says, how would you zero in on that blue? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically if that's the blue you were talking about, so that's a better blue. Okay, cool. So yeah, the settings that we had are as follows. (250 millimeters per second, 50% power, 150 kilohertz, one pass with crosshatch at 0.020 line interval, and that's in millimeters. So for that result, for that specific blue, and this is a 50 watt JPT with a 300 millimeter lens on it. Or I'm sorry, a 110 millimeter lens. I keep switching it back and forth. So this is running the 110. Sometimes if you want to get a better anneal effect, it might be better to go with a bigger lens. Would you agree, Kyle?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're aiming for specifically colors, going with like a 200 or like a 220 lens is going to net you a much easier time when you're trying to anneal colors.
And in that aspect, because I think it was you, Mickey, that asked at the beginning, if annealing titanium is like annealing stainless. I said they're different. I mean, it is, but it isn't. You definitely want to apply heat without ablation in order to get the anneal. But the methods that you use to get to it are going to be a little bit different between titanium, just with the settings.
Yeah.
With steel, I think typically you want to go with a tighter interval than what titanium. I think titanium you would overheat if you used steel settings.
For sure.
What do you think, Kyle? Yeah,
For sure.
okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking
too. The one of the benefits to titanium is that if you overdo it and end up ablating, you're not going to rust it because titanium, there's nothing to rust. But steel, if you end up ablating into the metal instead of heating it only, you end up like you're guaranteeing you're going to eventually rust, is the problem. So you want to be extra cautious when doing steel. If you can hear it marking, you're ablating, and that's a problem. It won't last long term.
That is very true. All right, so I'm going to move this over.
The 300 millimeter, it depends on how much wattage you have on tap. And it depends on what you're going for. I have a harder time with the 300 lens than I do with the 200 personally. I think 200 or 220 is like the happy medium for me, at least. Yeah, I have a 60 watt too. I pretty much do all my colors on my 60 watt. I've never done large expanses of titanium though, so.
Nathan's asking, he said, I'll link a titanium pin I did an Entropic. That's a nice sky blue. How did you lock it in? You're talking about the blue square we just did? Because that was just kind of, we took the far left, I guess, as you're looking at it through the camera, 2 rows up, and just kind of tried to duplicate those settings. Oh, you heard. Okay, gotcha. Awesome. Do you think dropping the Q pulse down to 11. See, I'd love to do that, bud, but I have a 50 watt JPT, not a MOPA. So the one limitation I have personally at the moment is that I don't have pulse duration modulation. So if I can make some money this year, and hopefully by the end of the year, I plan on sourcing a 80 to 100 watt proper M7 source and try to add that ability. So yeah, there might be a video like that coming soon. Well, not that soon, because I'm I'm far away from that that goal for the laser source. But yeah, I'd like to take probably my lasers only machine that has the 30 watt source in it and upgrade it to like an 80 or 100. So that's that. So I went ahead and sped it up some just to kind of mess with it and see, and I want to see what results we end up. So I'm using the same settings as the blue square we just did, just at twice the speed. And I believe it's still got crosshatch and it's framing now. So let's hit it. I wonder what result we get here. So that was much faster and also much darker. So that is like a royal blue, huh?
Yeah, dude, that's pretty.
Well, isn't that a happy little accident, huh? So we went from a nice light sky blue to a very, very beautiful deep blue. So for those keeping track, that was at 500 millimeters. Yep. Yeah. So I want to double check. I can't remember. I don't believe I changed the line interval on this. I want to say, oh, okay. So yeah, I did actually change the line interval. I apologize. So it's 500 speed, 0.015 line interval. So I went from 020 to 0.015. And we got that nice. I'm gonna maybe switch cameras and see if I couldn't really tell if that color was coming through. Were you getting a good copy of that color, Kyle?
What was it?
I was just asking if you could really see the color
Yeah, dude.
coming through, because it's like
When the light hits
Yeah,
it just right, the camera picks it up nice.
yeah, it almost looks black. It almost looked black when I was walking up to it, and then I was like, oh, that's a bummer. But yeah, it's like a really, I would call it a royal blue because it's kind of got that purple tone to it,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say it's straight up purple. So that's a win there. Anybody have any suggestions for what we could try next? That last color looked black and you picked it up and it looked great. Yeah, exactly. The frequency stayed the same, Mickey. It was 150 kilohertz. So 500 speed, 50 power, 150 kilohertz, 0.015, one pass with crosshatch. Nathan said we are seeing it. Hey, it's John. How's it going, John? That last go.
What up, John?
Yeah, nice. Very nice. And John, your package should be arriving to you shortly. I appreciate you, buddy. All right, so if anybody wants to throw anything out there, so we tightened up the line spacing, sped it up, and got a darker blue. I wonder if maybe we open up the line spacing and keep the same speed. If maybe that'll do anything. So we could do 0.03. All right. Let's take bets. Oh, USPS said Monday. What's today? Friday? Oh man, I'm sorry. I got that out, I think yesterday. Hopefully it shows up sooner than that. But it might be because it was out on Thursday, which would put it Sunday for a 3-day. So how about a grid varying the interval? That sounds like a great idea. Let's hit fire on this, and then maybe we'll come up with a new grid. I'll put Kyle on the spot. All right. So what do we end up with this time? This is the story of a girl. A very pinkish purplish color, huh?
I would say so. Yeah.
All right.
It's rocking a little bit of a beautiful gradient. Feel like that would look really nice on like a titanium knife blade or something.
Yeah, almost like a rose gold, huh?
Yeah.
Almost. It's a little more purple than like a rose gold would be.
Yeah. As the light kind of catches it too, it has some yellow hues, it looks like.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like you get a lot of gold that shows through on some of these, I think. So the pink is coming in. Yeah, I think we're gonna try. Should we try doing one more pass just to see what happens?
Yeah, sure.
I wonder what that extra energy turns it into. So with a second pass, it really purpled it out, huh?
Oh, that's pretty.
It lost almost all the pink. And I think it's coming through like, this is like a lavender, huh?
Yeah. I'm getting just little peaks of it as the light catches it.
Yeah, it looks like kind of a lavender. It's got some blue to it too, so that's kind of cool. So, yeah, the heat of the second pass star. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen, but I just kind of wanted to see what goes on with the second pass, because typically, yeah, the more passes you add, like when I'm messing with stainless, the first few passes start turning bluish, but then once I hit like the third or fourth pass, it'll shoot over to red. But on the fifth pass, it starts turning green usually, and then we'll start blackening out. So having like just the right balance of heat that you're dumping into it is really key. So all right, so let's mess with interval, huh? I wonder if the other camera is going to pick this up any better. Shoot over the PTZ. Go to number 3. No, it's not really. I still got to move my PTZ. It's still a little too far away to get a good view, but oh well. All right. So we're going to do a interval grid now. Yeah, this is actually 2mm titanium, Michael. I picked it up for $9.99 on Amazon, and to know about lavender, maybe grape on camera. Yeah, that's the hard part, is with the camera, it kind of comes through differently too, but it was definitely on the lighter end of purple, with some blues coming through too. So, but yeah, Michael, the thickness of that is 2mm by 100mm by 100mm. So it was actually a pretty decent price, and it showed up pretty quickly too. So, what would the amount of gold be related to the amount of oxidation? Probably. Yeah, I grabbed this test piece on Amazon. I was looking at some other places. I almost pulled the trigger on a Temu order, but I was like, I don't want to trust to maybe get a janky piece of metal. And
you're gonna end up with some tin and iron.
Yeah, and then just have all bad settings for people unless they buy.
And they just engraved TI on it for titanium. Titanium's
Exactly.
the brand, not the material.
Yeah. They're like, we promise. So I might mess around with a Timu titanium. Timu titanium. I might mess around with that eventually. But yeah, I just wanted this quick, so I did the Amazon thing because Frank, I think it was Frank's Customs on Discord, was asking some questions about titanium. And I pulled the trigger on this before I realized he was messing with business cards made of grade 1 titanium, when almost everything I see that's in sheet is grade 5. But he says that the person he sourced it from told him it was pure titanium, which would put it at grade 1. So,
which is probably ridiculously expensive too.
yeah, I would imagine.
I'm pretty sure they make like jet parts out of grade
1. 5 is a lot of aircraft stuff too. Like 1 is like supposedly the pure version of it, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5. I don't think it necessarily. I don't know if it's purity or just the combination of alloys that's in it. So like they'll throw in some like nickel and some what's it, aluminum, I think, or something. I read up on it, but it was kind of late. SR-71. Here's a fun story. The SR-71 Blackbird had a home at Beale Air Force Base in California. And I, as a child from 1st through 4th grade, lived about 10 miles away from Beale Air Force Base. So my childhood was riddled with sonic booms that would spontaneously show up and scare the ever-living piss out of you. I remember playing tetherball, and in the middle of a tetherball game, I got smacked in the face because we're just playing along, and then out of nowhere, boom, and everything shakes, and I like turned or went to run or something or whatever, and just smacked right in the face with the tetherball. So yeah, SR-71's a bad mamma jamma, and they make a lot of noise when they fire supersonic.
Yeah,
I mean, it is pretty awesome. Beale is a neat place. Yeah, Beale got a lot of their U2 hub, SR-71s. We went to an air show there. They had an F-117, one of the Nighthawks. That was a cool plane, but they had a cordon with armed guards, so we could only get so close to it. But yeah, that was a cool one for sure. I think pretty much any Air Force base is going to be a cool place to be, but Beale in specific had like some pretty cool toys that would pop in and out. All right, so instead of frequency, so I'm going to load this preset. And then instead of frequency, we're going to leave the frequency locked, and we're going to change the interval. And let's see. What do you think, Kyle? Should we do 10 ranging from 0.005?
You're talking line intervals right now?
Line interval.
I think like it would be what was your original one, like 0.025?
Yeah, 0.025.
I'm curious if you're curious. So typically when I do colors, I'll go into the third digit past the decimal. So I'll mess with like 0.001 up to like 0.005 sometimes. I'm curious to see how that affects the evenness of the color and if it's worth the time. But I don't know how deep we want to go on that, because test squares are going to get exponentially longer to do.
I mean, we could go from like 0.001 and maybe go up to like 0.002. Or I'm sorry, up to 0.020 with a 10 intervals.
Yeah, we could do that.
Or do you think that's too far?
No, I think that'd be fine. I mean, you're going to get, if it's like steel, so like 0.001 up to 0.002 will give you a color variation depending on the rest of your settings. But it depends on how aggressive you are with your power and your frequency. So it's hard to say. I don't know. But I think seeing the variation and seeing the consistency of the color would be interesting. So like before we ended up doing a double pass kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But going bigger would be interesting too. I'm curious to see how that would affect.
Bigger squares?
No. Bigger line interval. Even.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I think
we're already bigger than the physical beam almost. So
for sure, yeah.
And we're still getting consistent colors. So you're it's definitely spreading the heat.
It seems like most people are kind of interested in the colors so far, so we'll just keep pushing it, I guess. So I'm going to leave kilohertz at 150, power at 50. Actually, no, we're doing a power. Power is going to be part of our range. So we're leaving the power 30 to 80, and then we're going to move the interval from 0.001 to 0.0. Let's go 0.010. Let's see what we get. We got room to do another. All right. Well, I think that's putting us at the corner of our field. I don't want to do that, so we'll recenter there. You can keep power of one column or row. Yeah, I could do that. But I'm kind of interested what the variation of power is going to give us too. So it does seem like this one's larger than the last one. 10 and 6.
Did the size of the boxes change?
No, it's still 3 millimeter by 3 millimeter. And the border's off. Oh well. Let's run it. I think it just framed larger. Oh, it's because of the text. That's right. Because you can't really see the text.
Yeah, it kind of sneaks in there.
Yeah. I probably should modify that too. Get a little bit more heat coming through that text. Mickey said he's been fighting with colors for the last 2 days. Are you fighting with colors in titanium or steel? So what was for dinner, Kyle?
We did like stewed beef and noodles, like egg noodles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
sounds good.
It was tasty.
Stainless steel. So you're running 60 watt. What size lens are you using?
Yeah, and where are you finding your struggles? Like what kind of issues are you working to combat?
Two things I would recommend just off the top of my head would be three. Use the largest lens that you have at your disposal. Second, do a very light, fast cleanup, quote unquote, pass before you try to do your color, because there are oils and different things and imperfections on the surface of that steel that
true.
If you're trying to get a color pass off the top surface of the steel, you're combating more than just the steel probably. So I always do like a really light, like 1500 speed, maybe 10 or 12% power. So maybe in your case, like 8. And like a 0.030 line interval, just to clean up the area that you're going to be engraving. And then after that, go ahead and run an anneal type pass. And if you're using the 300 millimeter lens, you'll probably have to hit it with more power just to because inherently you're losing your energy density by getting such a large lens. So maybe in your case, like 30 to 50% power, just to try and rough up that surface. You don't want like sparks flying or anything like that. You just want to like faintly see kind of an outline of what you're doing in the steel. You're just, all you want to do is disrupt the surface and clean off as much of the contaminants that are probably laying on the surface of that steel. And then I said 3, didn't I? Third would be oh, multiple passes. Don't be afraid of multiple passes. So what I was saying before is like you have to progressively add the heat in. With steel, my first few passes are going to give me like darker or from light to darker blues, and it's usually around like the 4th pass when the red starts coming through, and then the 5th pass is when it usually turns kind of like green. So don't be afraid to like run a couple passes, let it sit for a minute, run a pass at a time, and try and get that going. So that's kind of what I do with different ideas, and like try to figure out, it's not always going to come in just one pass. It might take a few. So as you saw with that, it went from a light purple or from a light pink / purple to a darker color with that added pass and more heat. So if we'd have kept going over the same spot repeatedly, it would have transitioned probably to a different shade, or maybe even just gone black. So hopefully that helped. Kyle, you got some tips?
Focus consistency.
Yep.
If you're using your red dots to do focus, you can be plus or minus up to like a millimeter or more. And if you're using the 150, that can equate to a lot of change in your heat dispersion for stainless. So especially with the smaller lens, I would definitely go with a focal stick, because at least then all of your tuning will be consistent up to the point of a feeler gauge. With the 300, you have a lot more variable to work with in terms of your focal range, where if you're working... Oh, it's still going, bud.
I thought it was done. Jesus.
It's that tight friggin' line interval, dude.
There was like a pause, so I was like, oh, it's ready. Nope.
It was like, we're still going. So with the 300, you have such a bigger focal range compared to the 150 that if you're working in the center of your focus and you're plus or minus a millimeter, it's going to make much less of a difference. So on the 300, you could probably get away without a focal stick if you're using red dots to align your focal height. But on a 150, I would definitely go for like a feeler gauge kind of deal with the classic focal stick situation. With a 200, or technically it's a 210, I think, but a 200 class lens, I don't bother with a focal stick just because I'm lazy and I lost it, admittedly. But I haven't really had too much in the way of consistency problems with it, so it's been okay for me at the 200. But I know when I was messing with it with my 110, and I dabbled with the 150 for a little bit, but I didn't really have a need to use it. I just found it far more difficult to get consistent results, and I'm pretty confident that's part of the reason why. The other part is just the power density is also difficult to control. It's doable. It's just annoying. Oh, wow. It's still got a whole nother column.
Yep. I think more or less all the good stuff's typically going to be at the top anyhow, but I don't know. We got a little bit of something there on that last row. Looks kind of like a silvery blue in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, John said, "Does knowing the actual metallurgy of the piece help determining power, speeds, and intervals to get color?" Knowing, I think, in general, like the grade. So if you have settings and you know it's for grade 5, then I think there's probably enough control when they're mixing up these different alloys that it should carry over for the most part. So yeah, I think staying on top of like what grade you're working on is gonna definitely keep you on the right path. And just realizing that what works for one isn't necessarily going to work for the other. In
Yeah.
general, it might, but if you're looking for very specific outcomes, then I think it's going to be a pretty substantial difference. Like I know I had a coin that was grade 2, and then I had a bracelet that was grade 2, and then with this being grade 5, I'd say the level of reactivity to the laser is going to be similar, but like specific like color changes and stuff like that's going to be very type specific. Hope that answered your question. And Nathan said titanium eventually goes back to a silver metal shine. So it doesn't black out, it goes to a lighter silver. Eventually, stainless steel turns brown. And that means you burnt the metal.
Yeah, you overcooked it.
Try again. I did that to a cup, and it wasn't pretty. Luckily, it was a tester cup, but
that's like on Thanksgiving when you're cooking the turkey and the little thing popped, but you missed it.
Oh yeah,
it's a little, you missed it. It's overdone. Yeah, particularly alloys with steels because they're I guess the chromium is one of the key components of what affects the color that you're getting. And there's different, I mean, it's an alloy, right? An alloy is a mixture of things together. It's like a hot pot of stuff, and they pour it out, and you got what you got. The different mixtures, I like to describe it as a cake, right? So if you're making a cake, but you don't put any floof powder in, and by floof powder, I mean baking soda or baking powder or whatever, you're not going to get the same result as you would if you put in too much, right? So that's kind of the deal with stainless, especially. So like if you pick up test cards of like, I don't know, 304 versus another alloy of steel. I don't even know all the numbers off the top of my head, and I'm drawing a blank right now, but you're going to get varying results for sure. So if you're pulling off the scrap pile to test and you're getting varying results and you're scratching your head why, that could be it.
So you see, trying to get it. See that like beige colored square there?
It's like a sandy tan.
That is so weird.
That is very odd.
It looks like, I don't know, dude. It looks like
It's like brass powder.
Oh, wait, never mind. It wiped off. That's some sort of oxidation or something on it. Oh, weird. It looked like, I don't know. It looked like makeup.
Yeah. Huh.
I'm going to hit this with a little bit of 3-in-1 and see how that makes the colors change. Because dry metal is a very different color from oiled metal. Yeah, those bottom ones were getting kind of rough, but so let's see. Don't polish it. Oh no, I'm not going to polish it. I'm just throwing a little 3-in-1 on there to try and, I don't know, it was like a dust buildup, like some sort of oxidation that we created at that specific power and frequency combo. So that was interval of 0.001 and 60% power. Yeah, 60% power, 0.001 line interval. And the speed was 250, right? We kept it there, and then the kilohertz at 150. So
Which lens are you cracking with?
this is a 110. I might swap to a little bit larger lens and try that too. If
I love how
everybody-
forgiving the titanium is being.
Yeah, for real. So you can see this isn't really focusing for snot, but it has almost like a little bit of a, it's that one right there at the tip of my finger is the one that built up that weird beige dust.
Yeah.
It has almost a bit of a purplish red color to it. And we did get some pinks kind of in this section here. It's not letting me. I need to get a better camera, but yeah, you're getting a little bit of pink action through there and a lot of blues. And I think Nathan or John, who was it that asked? It's done shows floof powder. Yeah, exactly. Baking soda.
Don't you sass my floof powder?
So it said, yeah, Nathan asked, so Anthony, what was the big difference in this grid versus the last? This grid, we didn't use kilohertz as a variable. We used line interval and power. So the kilohertz was fixed at 150. The speed was fixed at 250. And we modulated the power level and the line interval. Man, I can't wait to post these pictures because I'm seeing like almost like an OD greenish kind of color. It's, I don't know. I've been accused of being colorblind before too, so but I'm not colorblind, but I think some of my greens do get messed up sometimes. So but yeah, I'm gonna post these pics because these are some really cool results we got. So let's see, what do we got in chat? Do the other camera again. Okay, the green we need to lock down. Yeah, the green. I mean, we can mess around with that. So the green was in the, let's see. So we're looking at 60% power and 0.010 to 0.008 range. So we could try if you guys are down for that. You guys want to try and go for green? I've been pondering attaching my dial indicator to the Galvo after setting the focus in order to measure precise movements with the colors. Would that work? I guess, yeah, the dial indicator.
I mean, as long as your initial focus is absolutely accurate and you're using that to figure out what you're changing it, then yeah. I think if you're using that to set your focus, you're probably going to be shooting yourself in the foot. Because normally the dial indicators, once they're mounted, that like they have like articulation to them and they can wobble a bit if they get bumped. And if it was me, I would be bumping that like every other day.
Right.
So I don't want to, you know, set you up for failure. Maybe I'm just clumsy. So you're using it after focus to make adjustments. I see. If you're using the smaller lens and then defocusing, that would at least get you a consistent defocus.
So can you see what I'm seeing? Like it's kind of if you go at the tip of my thumb, the third row on the far right side.
You got to go to your left a little. There you go.
I feel like that third row is giving me like almost some greens. So what did I say? 60 power? Is that what we went with?
I believe you're at 60 power. I don't remember the rest, admittedly.
Yeah, it's 60 power and 0.008 to 0.010.
I'm not dyslexic, at least diagnosed, but I definitely don't remember stuff.
What was that?
I said I'm not diagnosed dyslexic, but I definitely don't remember stuff.
Oh, that's CRS.
I might be weird, but when I have to remember a value or something, switching between screens, I have to like chant it to myself in my head.
Yeah, I do that too. You make like a song out of it.
Yeah, that only works so far though. Yeah.
All right, so if we do, that's not what I'm looking for. My interval should be, what did we say? 0.008 to 0.010. It used to really drive me crazy when people said O instead of a number. And I find myself doing that more and more every day. All right, so there's that. Kind of want to move it more toward the center. All right, let's get that lined up right there. Let's see what happens. Oh, we wanted to add a little bit of power to that text, huh? So let's do max power 30 and 37 kilohertz. Jumping gigawatts.
Whammo!
Yeah, I think that's going to be a little bit more legible now.
I bet.
You can actually see it on camera.
Yeah, it's
all
popping
right.
a bit.
John said CRS, can't remember stuff. Yes, exactly. Stuff. All right, so it's done. And we got it almost. Where's it at? Nope, that's not it. Oh my goodness. There we go. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does that have any kind of a green appearance?
Like almost like a army tent fatigue green.
Yeah, like kind of like a drab, like an olive drab kind of green. Whammo made frisbees. Yep, Whammo did make frisbees, and they had the yo-yos too. Didn't they make yo-yos?
Super balls.
Yuri says he saw a hint of olive, so we're the same kind of colorblind, I guess. What I can do is try to run a square like we were doing on the larger sides, and let's see. So we'll do like in the middle, 0.009 at 60%. So let's F1.
Yeah, I remember Whammo used to make super balls. Hacky sacks. all kinds of stuff. Weren't they like the main Frisbee people for Ultimate Frisbee Association or whoever? I don't
I'm
know.
not
I don't know
sure.
how we got on this conversation, but
Whammo, because I think one of us said Whammo.
oh, yeah. I'm old. Sorry.
All right, so I'm gonna run no crosshatch on this one, and then we'll see maybe if we just need to add a second pass, because I feel like it's gonna radically change the color if we add crosshatch. So 250 speed, 60% power, 150.009. And fire. Green olives. Still not brave enough to try black olives. Dude, black olives are so much better than green olives. Black olives
they're
are-
very good. Yeah.
They're like candy compared to green olives. Green olives, I love green olives. I love stuffed green olives with blue cheese or garlic. Oh my gosh.
I like what are the ones? I don't remember what they're called. The ones with the pimento olives. They got like the pimento in them. It's like the little red thing sticking out. Those are really good too. Yeah, Kalamata. Green olives have a little bit more of a bitterness to compared to the black. The black are more neutral.
That was bluish. So let's run another pass. Green olives with red pimento. Well, we found the martini drinker in the group.
I love those. Those are really good. I used to go to like a salad bar on my lunch break at work years ago, and I would get like a buffalo chicken salad or something, and I would get a couple of those on the side. It's very good.
Dang it. It really didn't do nothing.
Yeah, not quite.
Not a good setting. We could maybe try slowing it down. Or we could go down in the line interval.
You could. Does it seem like it's digging in a lot on the surface?
No, not really, no.
Okay. You could try varying the frequency a little. So pick your closest one and then go like maybe up 5 frequency and down 5 frequency.
Yeah, I'm going to try 0.008 and then we'll mess with the frequency too after this. We'll see what happens. I don't foresee 0.008 making that big of a difference, but
you never know.
You never know.
Yuri says, added to the grocery list. I know I'm going to catch some hate for this, but if Deadpool does it, it makes it okay. If you like pizza and you like pineapples, get pineapple pizza with black olives.
With black olives? Oh yeah, for sure.
That's the Deadpool classic. If you watch the first 5 minutes of Deadpool, that's the pizza that's ordered when he deals with the stalker guy at the beginning.
Oh really?
In the guy's apartment, and he's like, "Whose litter box did I just poop in?"
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's the scene, and it's a pineapple and black olive pizza. It's actually really good.
I'm adding a crosshatch just to see what happens because the color transition is kind of stark on this one from bottom to top.
Yeah.
Crosshatch just gave us a lot more even color.
John says pizza of choice is pepperoni, mushroom, and black olives. Sounds like a good savory pizza. Lots of umami there.
Umami.
Umami. Yes.
I hadn't heard that in a while. I was hoping it had gone away.
Don't like that word?
It sounds too much like mommy.
Mm.
Maybe I have mommy issues. I don't know. Let's leave that alone and go mess with frequency for a second.
You heard it here first, folks. From now on, umami is now udaddy.
Udaddy. those freaking guys on like YouTube that do those pranks, and they're like, they go up to people in Walmart and they're like, "Hey, do you have any Matter Daddy here?" And the guy's like, "Huh?" He's like, "Any Matter Daddy? You have any? You know where the Matter Daddy's at?" The guy's like, "What's Matter Daddy?" He's like, "Nothing, baby. What's the matter with you?" That shit makes me laugh so hard. So I went up to 200 kilohertz and we got a very nice shade of silver.
Interesting. Okay.
So
It's like a matte silver.
Yeah, it's got a little sheen to it. Not a lot. It is more matte than some of the other ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that's not what we were looking for. That's not where I parked my car. Dr. Freud would love to chat. Yeah.
Mickey says favorite pizza is everything.
That's a good one too. That's hard. I mean, as long as it's not anchovies, I think we're straight. But Domino's used to have this fiery Hawaiian where they would put Tabasco in their pizza sauce and then put jalapenos, pepperoni, and pineapple on it. And that it's probably one of my favorite pizzas ever.
That sounds pretty fantastic.
Maybe change the freak. Yeah, I did. I bumped the freak up to 200, and that's what gave us that. So maybe I need to come down a little on the freak.
Maybe.
Sorry, Kyle. What were we saying?
So the pineapple and olive is probably my more recent. Nobody will ever try it, but it's delicious. Kind of favorite. But my more common favorite is like a Tex-Mex, which is basically like a taco pizza with like sour cream swirl, or like they call it like a baked potato pizza. Just no sauce, just mashed potatoes on dough with cheese and bacon and chives.
What the hell?
Yeah, dude, freaking.
Oh my goodness.
I switched to that when I became super sensitive to acidic foods and tomato and onion and stuff.
I'm going to run a crosshatch on that last one just in case, since we have been doing that on the other ones. Jay Giles Band did a song, No Anchovies, Please.
Jay Giles.
Giles.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
That's a name I've never read before, obviously. Giles.
Nah, you're good.
So it gave us a little bit more of like a powdered blue look. So still not where I parked my car. So let's drop frequency to 125.
Wait, John, isn't the name of the song No Anchovies, Please?
Ooh, more sparky.
Yeah, it is. Spicy.
West Boston. Do you still have the accent?
Coffee talk. Coffee.
So it's definitely a rougher engrave. And I got a dark blue out of it. So that's a no-go. Maybe we try 135. Blue means not hot enough. Never had an accent to speak of. My cousins who lived in Dorchester. We're going to drive the car down to Dorchester, visit my cousins.
The first time I ever drove out toward Boston, and I realized there were sections of highway where it was designed like the breakdown lanes were designed to be overflow lanes during certain parts of the day. So like you could just drive off the side of the highway in the breakdown lane and pass a bunch of people and just not get pulled over in certain areas. What the hell?
Like
I remember seeing that for the first time, and I'm like, what the hell is going on in this state?
Not as sparky that time.
Yeah,
Zipper lanes.
That's like a little plasma glow kind of thing going on. That's got something going on there, I think. Is that
I don't know. Green? We might need to tighten her up even more. Since, like I said before, you could end up chasing your tail for a while because of all the heat that builds up while you're doing that grid. It could ultimately affect what you're doing. And I think titanium is especially sensitive to that. So I'm going to go back to 150. We're going to tighten up that line interval some more. See if maybe that helps. It does cool down quick. Yeah, it's not one to hold on.
Disperses heat well. Yeah.
It's no copper. You'll never get me copper.
If you guys are enjoying hanging out and you haven't yet, smash that like button. Get subscribed. Click on that bell icon so you get notified when Anthony goes live, because he doesn't tell people sometimes.
It's a little off the cuff most of the time.
But that way you won't miss it. You'll get notified.
And that is a very navy blue. So he said blues like the beginning of the spectrum, right after golds. So
what if you just keep adding passes?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of doing right now. I'm going to add crosshatch.
We could just cook it until it turns green.
Cook it till that turkey timer pops out.
Yeah, dude. Just got to wait till it, when it's done. So Nathan says blue, then purple. And yeah, passes.
Yep. And I appreciate your subscription, Nathan. That's awesome. I come up with random things to do from time to time. Last week, was it last week? Last week or the week before? It was a superconductor coin that we engraved together. We learned about that too.
Yeah, it was like a little over a week ago. It was like a week and a half. That was a lot of fun. Good knowledge there.
Yeah, we're still in that blue range. I don't know. I think I might have tricked myself into seeing something that wasn't there. Cause dang. 020 percent power. Let's see if seeing a little bit of something at 0.020. If you got any thoughts, Kyle, throw them out there. Or anything you want to see. This is everybody's piece of titanium right now.
How many passes did you do on that last one?
3 total. It was one pass and then one with crosshatch. It's kind of a grayish something going on there. I want to add one more pass without crosshatch and see what happens, since we're going the add passes route.
Where are we at? You said 60 power and 500 speed?
250 speeds. I bumped it up to 70 power and 0.020 just to kind of change things up a little bit based off that first test grid we did.
Yeah.
It's getting a little dark gray. I wonder if we need to add some more frequency in or what. That song was released when I was a sophomore in high school. Man, one of my kids made me so proud yesterday. No, it was this morning. We were listening to music while I was making breakfast, and he's like, "Daddy, can you play that I Know Who I Want to Take Me Home song?" And he's 5. And I was playing a Soundgarden thing on Amazon Music when we were driving somewhere. And I was like, "Wait, you want to listen to Closing Time by Semisonic?" He's like, "Yeah." So I turned that on. He's all singing along with it. And he's maybe heard that song twice. I thought that was pretty funny, though. The I Know Who I Want to Take Me Home.
That's funny.
Semisonic live. Jealous, dude.
The last live show I went to go see was Megadeth.
So we got a little bit of like a goldish, bluish. I think if we add, let's do another pass. That might start coming through. We might be onto something here. You said Megadeth?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna try a 45-degree angle this time. Get some good rotation going. I haven't been to a metal concert, although I am in Iowa and Knotfest is a thing. And I love me some Slipknot.
That's
Yeah,
an
that
interesting
gold
gradient
color.
right there. It's almost going to like a red tint in that corner.
Yeah. Well,
Nathan says the green's coming.
Let's add passes. Go again.
Again.
So was it you saying you saw Megadeth, or was John saying he saw Megadeth?
I said I saw it, and then John said he saw him too.
Nice. Dude, my first concert ever. John could probably vouch for this. When you're in the military, you get voluntold to do things, is what we call it. Because you're told that you're a volunteer, but you're told that you're a volunteer.
Yeah, you're just doing
it. Our squadron could make money by sending us to work security at different events. And this was back in the Napster days.
Oh my.
So Napster had that freeloader tour, and it was like Limp Bizkit, Cold, I think was one of the bands, and Cypress Hill.
That's a mystery.
So yeah, it was quite the interesting experience for a young lad such as myself who had never been in the presence of marijuana and went to a Cypress Hill and Limp Bizkit concert in Denver, Colorado. Ooh, we're getting something, man. It's starting to look it. Let's run one more. Yeah, it was very interesting. Sadly, no other concerts have ever lived up to my expectations since then. All right, we're coming in from the top. Denver, holy crap! I was stationed at FE Warren. I was one of the guys that protected our nation's nuclear assets from jackrabbits and antelope and the occasional tumbleweed.
It looks like it's getting the color tint in there.
It looks like it's so close. Like there's a splotch that's like pink, and then it has like that greenish look to it. I'm gonna do one more pass with crosshatch and see what happens. See if we can get rid of that pink splotch. Let's go up 45 degrees again.
Nathan says, so to make this practical, once we get these settings, then we change them for the layers in the art. We want those colors.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say you assign a layer to whatever effect you want.
Yep.
It's going pink. Hey, this might be the red that we're looking for. So we'll keep going. Let's do it again and see. Might be detouring away from green for just a moment. Crosshatch. Yep, I have crosshatch on, 45 degrees. Number one concert for me was Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl performed on a throne made of guitars with a broken leg. Oh, nice.
Nice.
Molly Hatchet.
Back in, I can't remember if I was a senior or if I had just graduated high school, but I think it was when I was a senior. I went and saw Green Day and think there was like 2 or 3 other bands with them, and they ended up having like a guest appearance from another band where they like covered one of the other band songs. It was cool. That was a really good concert.
We're kind of dipping back toward bluish purple again.
Huh.
I don't know, man. I mean, it gets a little pinkish. Oh, it's interesting. Stuff's like witchcraft. Let's see. So past pink, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Go look at the Discord, the Fiverr chat. So one step past pink is back to purple. Yeah, makes sense.
Is it like a gradient, Nathan? Because the last thing I see is just the knife.
It's a cool knife though.
It is a cool knife.
Kind of reminds me. I was just gonna say, speaking of metal bands, I can't remember who it is. I want to say is like, it's not Tool, is it? One of them that does the SpongeBob song at their live concerts, and I've seen a couple different videos of them where they perform SpongeBob. You don't see the bottom pick. The bottom pick, from what I'm looking at in Fiverr, is the ocean scene on a knife handle.
Yeah.
Let's see, random chat is a video game system. Looks like a PS2, PS1. Forgive me for getting that one wrong. It's a Dreamcast.
It's a coffee maker. Back in the days when I worked at an ISP, one of our consoles that we would work in for troubleshooting modems and stuff, we could type coffee into it, and it would software eject the CD tray to act as a coffee holder. It's great.
So I'm slowing it down some on this to see if the extra heat will help at all.
Yeah, it looks like green is pretty close to the yellow stuff. It's like between yellow and blue. It's rough.
See, stuff like that is what gets me, because you can see on that last one right here, there's just like the slightest hint of some green coming through. So
Yeah.
I wonder if I do one more pass.
One more pass. One more pass.
That one more pass did not do the job. We're starting to get a little bit of pink in the middle. I don't know if you can see that.
A little bit.
I'm slowly dimming my display down to where I can't see it because I keep forgetting to hold down the function button. Isn't there like a function lock?
I do not know.
There's a number lock. I don't see a function lock. So I don't keep having to hold down function when I press F2 to fire. I don't have to do that on the normal keyboard, but the laptop keyboard for some reason. Yeah, we're going past it again. So I slowed it down to 200 millimeters a second. I wonder if we go down to like 175, because maybe the multiple passes might not be doing the trick. We might need to just try and get it with one with cross. So we'll go 175 and move it over a spot. With cross, yep. Oh, 150. I was going to stick with 175. We'll see. If it doesn't work, we'll try 150. I had no idea that anodization reacted similar to lasers. Well, I mean, I guess technically, because you're introducing.
It's like an oxidation layer is all it is.
It's not as much heat per se, but yeah, you're creating that layer of oxidation. That's not nothing. I think it's kind of like peaking there. Maybe Nathan was right. Let's drop it to 150. Down one. Go to 150 on the speed. Fire away. Oh, thank you guys for hanging out this long. It's been a couple hours. It's nice of you to share your Friday night with us, doing nerdy stuff. So we're kind of it's kind of hard to say. It's this guy right here. It's kind of getting gold, but there's still that hint of green there. You think maybe only because that first test grid you had was a clean color? Yeah, I know. So hard to go off those test grids. Drop some wisdom on me, Kyle.
I don't know, man.
Tighten up the line spacing.
So we have in the perspective of the camera on the lower left, right? So if we're following the grid that was provided, so there's a little bit of green after blue before you get to yellow. So if we look at your grid that you have there of where it leads blue to yellow, we could try splitting the difference there or adding a second pass. Not a second pass because that would be too much, but so like what did we do on the first test grid? It was just
It was
frequency.
kilohertz and power.
Yeah. So depending on which column is changing, we could split the difference and see if we can get it to pop. But outside of that, I'm lost without just doing a bigger sample.
So
I think in the middle two, same column, at least from our perspective, but the top row was yellow, the next row down was blue, and they were right above and below each other.
yeah.
Which orientation was that? Was that the frequency that was changing or the power?
That was the power. That was going from 30 to 40.
So we could try doing we could do like jumps in power of like 3% and use the same settings we did before and see if we could get a green to pop.
So that would put us in like the 35 power range at like 90 kilohertz. So 0.020 250 speed, 35 power, and 90 kilohertz. All right, let's put us in the neighborhood of between that 37, 50 power, 150 020. Makes a lot of sense around the power frequency, small increments. Guess yellow and blue. So it's saying it goes yellow, then green, then blue.
Yeah, yellow, green, blue. Green is between the yellow and blue on the spectrum, according to that chart.
I think I forgot to jog this down a little bit. Control Shift. All right, let's try that again. No, it's putting us with a pink and a bright blue. So maybe go down a bit in power. Oh, he's saying green's after blue. So that makes sense. Ooh, that's almost a red. I don't know if you can see that. Where am I at? There we go.
Not quite. Oh. Yeah, it's like a red gradient to blue.
That top bright one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very vivid pink with some blue.
It seems like you're getting pretty close because if you're teetering between that fuchsia red and blue, a little bit further, you're getting into the greens. So you're moving in the right direction, according to the chart.
Maybe we run it again and see what happens. Nathan agrees with you.
More passes.
And it went straight blue. It's good blue, too. So if we do it again, it's probably just going to go deeper blue. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, that's looking like you're getting into the green spectrum now.
That's that guy right there?
Yeah. Little tippy. Yeah, dude. Right there.
Okay. So if we run, what did I run? That was the third path, right?
I think so.
So if we run 3 quickly instead of run, wait, run, wait, run, then maybe we get the desired effect. Wait, I didn't shift the damn line, did I? All right, well, we'll see what that one turns out like, but
maybe it'll be extra green now.
That was the ticket. You got to do it like SOS. Beep, 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 beep. All right, let's try that again. All right, so that was our 3 passes. And that gave us a pretty purpley blue. So maybe we do 2 passes. Oh, man, it's so close. Look at that.
Ooh. I mean, you're in that spectrum.
It's like
you're teetering.
Yeah, dude, it's so close. It's like a jade, not quite a jade, like a.
So on that chart, you're like the color before that olive green in the middle, I think.
Okay.
It's kind of like blue goes yellow before it goes that dark green, and then actual yellow.
Man.
I think.
So maybe we tighten up the line just a scooch. Leave the speed the same. And see what happens with 2 passes. Yeah, it's like a. It's so hard to describe the color. It's like a grayish green almost. It's very, very cool. And that went straight purple. All right, so that's a big fat no. So we're going to reopen that back up to 0.02. And then what do you think? Slow it down just a hair?
You could, yeah.
Or up the power? Like 30.
I think going slower would be better. Because when you up the power, you might be adding more heat, but you're going to be removing material too.
Very true. Very true. So
Think low and slow
225
is
versus
better bet.
250.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not enough heat. Oh, it's so close too. It's getting like an aquamarine kind of color. Depending on the angle. So we need maybe a little bit slower then.
Yeah, maybe drop like another 10 or something.
Yeah, John, we could probably do a test pattern. I still I mean, I don't want to say I dislike the test pattern. I dislike some of the aspects of it just because the way it builds up heat artificially in that area. But I know they're super useful too. So I don't know. Are you seeing this?
I can't quite.
This guy right here by my thumb.
Give it a tip back a little bit. Yeah, it looks kind of more blue to me.
Yeah, it definitely gained some blue.
Might not be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Might need just a little more energy. Yeah, at this angle it looks green, but that could just be the indirect reflection.
Do 3 passes like that. All right, let's give it a shot, bro. Let's put it here. Ah, shit, I forgot to change the pass number. Do another one real quick. It's actually getting more blue. Let me change that to 3. We'll try it again. It's just getting like more of a silvery blue. It's this guy right here.
Yeah, I see.
Oh, what happens if we add a pass? I don't know if we're blowing past it or not going hard enough.
Nathan says go 4. It also confirms not hard enough. Gotta go harder, I guess.
Ooh, sorry, I was hydrating real quick. Purple's too far, right?
I mean, if we go past purple to blue again, it actually goes into a different green spectrum.
Oh, really?
So we could keep going, yeah.
So 4 more.
The more better green, Nathan.
It's more betterer.
More better.
No dice on that.
Back in the Betty White days. Mo Betty, Mo Betta. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I guess it's not quite green.
No.
I think you're on the exit path of the blue though. So I think it's a step in the right direction, maybe.
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 We're back up to 8 viewers. That's crazy. People are really committed to seeing these colors. Nah, I think we blew through our window on that one. Oh, let's. Man. I wonder if we ran it a touch faster with that third 3 passes. Yeah, not very anonymous. But we definitely have a shared addiction, right? See, we're getting there again. I don't know if you can. It's that guy right there. It's getting that green hue again. So maybe we should take Mr. John's suggestion. And these settings were 230 millimeters, 32 power, 90 kilohertz, 0.020. Seemed like whenever we messed with the line interval, it definitely took us to a different level of blue. So I think if we want to stick with that greenish, should we toy around with a little bit of the kilohertz maybe?
For science.
So we could make a grid. So material test. So 230, 32%, 0.020. And then we'll take our frequency and we can do 10, ranging from 60 to 150 kilohertz. So do one row of power, and we're going to keep the power at 32 because we don't want to dig too deep into the metal. And then we'll run the split with the frequencies. Right there look good.
Yeah.
Just a little bump to the left. Perfect.
You left just enough space with those squares. It's like you knew it was coming.
Right. All right. And firing.
Fire the laser.
So those were all one pass. And we ended up with nothing. So let's get back in there. think I'm gonna have to rotate the plate. And we'll budge this over and we'll see what this looks like. All right, so hey, Sam's here too.
What up, Sam?
Sam hasn't been here long enough where he thinks I'm a pro still.
You are a pro.
Oh man. We've had our fair share of flubs tonight, but we're trying, man. We got some decent colors with the titanium, which seems to be what everybody was interested in. So we've been chasing that. Trying to get a nice green.
Yeah.
With the old 50 watt and a 110 lens. What I might do is, since it's getting to be past midnight and my kids are all passed out on the couch right now, maybe do a lens swap and a redo at this, because there's a whole other side. Although, man, just looking at that camera, looks like there might be something in here. Nope.
No dice.
No dice.
No dice.
Oh, that's a bummer. It's got to be. Not getting hot enough. Squatola. Not getting hot enough. Well, we can fix that. Got room to run one more. Look at that. Like a glove.
Beauteous.
All right. Pinks and tans and golds and blues. That first test is amazing. Thanks, dude. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to replicate. If you're looking at it right now, so the top left one is the first one we did, and toward the bottom of that, one row in is kind of where the greens start showing up. So that's what I'm trying to get to. And it's been a kick in the nuts.
He did forewarn us it would be difficult.
Yeah, we sure did. All right, so we're going to run it. I set it to one pass again with the same settings as what we achieved those greens with on that first one. And then I want to try adding a second pass if we need to.
Sam was missed the beginning because he was working on that programming the computer vision project for Lightburn, driving him up a wall. What laser is this being done on? Is the your 50-watt JPT with the 110 lens?
Yeah, see, we're getting.
I
I
feel
don't know
like
if you
you're
guys
getting
can
there
see
on that.
that's green, dude. Like, unless
Yeah,
I'm
like
totally-
there's a clear. That almost looks like an orange behind that yellow too at 90.
yeah, right here,
It's like an orange
and
pink
then
almost, and then goes into
down
yellow and then green.
those last two. I mean, that's like a sage color. Is kind of what it looks like. So
Nathan says one more.
one more pass.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure that's what he means. I'll have another. The last two are it. Yeah, the last two are like just right.
He's
Freaking
saying
there.
nah. He's saying nah.
Oh no one more pass with his finger. Oh, you meant like move up one more. Gotcha. Now start the test pass with yellow and go up in frequency some more.
Gotcha.
Go up in frequency, huh? We were at 150. So take those last two. Yeah, those last two are definitely like a sage kind of green. They're like a tannish green almost, I guess you'd call it. So that was so at 150 kilohertz, 140, 130, and even 120. 120's got a little bit more of a golden hue to it. So we're looking at 230 millimeters a second, 0.020 line interval, 60% power, and 120 through 150 kilohertz is where we're getting those greens. Honestly, no. 120. Now that I dusted it off a little bit with my finger, and no, it was no cross hatch, just a single pass. So I dusted it off with my finger a little bit, and you can see now at 150, you kind of start getting a little bit of blue back. I think is what I'm seeing. So I'm seeing in like the 120 and 130 range kind of seems to be the sweet spot. Might come down to a 2.5 kilohertz interval. Yeah, it definitely could. Like it could be like a small handful of kilohertz makes the difference. So,
You're doing 10 kilohertz jumps there?
Yeah, I was going 10 kilohertz. So I wonder if we play with the juice a little bit. 125 kilohertz. Yeah, I mean, I think 120 and 130 are very similar. It's 140 and 150. You start getting just a little peekaboo of like blue back. We'll see, but when I put oil on it, it starts to kind of. I mean, that's distinctly green, right? Or am I crazy?
You might be crazy, but not because of this.
Yeah, the oil does, but I mean, I don't know. I look at it like I always clean and oil my stuff anyhow. So adding oil to it, I don't think is really like an unfair manipulation. I think it's probably expected for the most part. So make 140 kilohertz the top. Dude, yeah, it's looking more like an olive green now that I added that oil. So we're there on that. So make 140 kilohertz the top. Should I jack with the power a little bit? Like, should we leave it at like 140 and then cycle through like 50, 60, 70?
I think that big of a power jump, you're going to end up with just different colors altogether.
So 55. We start at 55, go to 65, and split it. Yeah, that's looking impressive. All right, so because we're running out of space and time, what do you think? Speed the same, power the same, or I'm sorry, frequency the same, and just do 10 variations between 55 and 65% power.
It might be interesting. Give it a go.
All right, let's give it a shot. Let me change this. So we're going to keep frequency the same. And we'll do 10 powers, 55 to 65. Now, this isn't like a glossy green by any means. Like, you can feel the texture of the engraving. So, I don't know. If you're looking for a shiny green,
that might just be a matter of there being ablation still happening too.
Yeah, I mean, definitely
there's
ablation happening, but we weren't getting that green with the lower powers is the problem. So I guess
it's a tough balancing act.
It really is. It's borderline infuriating because you try to add enough energy without too much power, and it just doesn't. And you throw too much power at it where it like ablates, but then you get like almost the perfect color.
Yeah.
John, I try to write stuff down, but I've got like, I don't know, kind of a weird Rain Man mind where I remember a lot of these numbers too. So I try to write things down. I do a good job usually at saving projects. So I'll if I find something that works, I'll save it so I can refer to it in the future. But yeah, in general, I think my brain just holds a lot of weird numbers too. So if I'm burning out, it's a good thing, and I tell people to do that all the time. I just don't practice what I preach, I guess. Hang on just 1 second. I'm gonna mute myself.
What other projects you guys got going on tonight? Drop them in the chat. Love to hear what you got working. Yuri's working on his Cobalt toolbox. John's hanging out. Nathan's hanging out. Just trying to spend 4 hours a day at least learning. I need to be making money on this laser in a month. That's fair.
It's
fair.
a fair goal. I mean, I guess a lot of it depends on like your niche too. So, I mean, it sounds like you're doing a lot of like knife stuff, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, I guess just doing stuff that appeals to your niche and kind of fits into what you're trying to do. Uh, when I first started off, I just pounded dirt and go visit companies and introduce myself and drop off a sample of what I can do. And you got people waiting. Okay, that's good. That's good, man. It's a good thing to have. All right. So we're doing one frequency, and that's going to be 130. Should we keep 130? 130. 130 seems like it's there. And then 55 to 65 with 10 increments. Everything else is the same. So we'll frame it. I think I might have to flip it so we get that narrow. Change U to frequency, U to power, 30, 30, 55, 65. Kind of making that fit.
Oh, a lot of that's going to be covered with text anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking. So Sam's working on computer vision stuff. Not sure. See in Discord. Yeah, that guy's a genius. I don't know how he does what he does, but just reading about what he does gives me a headache. Why does that look so much different from what I was expecting? No, we got some slightly more vibrant greens.
Ooh.
So you can see kind of like here, these have a bunch of pink in them, but especially down here on the end, you can see it seems like it's a more vibrant green. Let's hit it with a little bit of juice and see what it looks like.
The juice.
Yeah, you can see it. It does look. If you're looking here, it does look to be a little bit more vibrant of a green on the end. I hope you guys can see what I'm seeing. There, is that a good angle?
Yeah, dude, it's there.
So I think a good move would be to call it a night, and then in the future, immediate or not, we come back and use a little bit larger lens. So now maybe a bracket, the low end of power. Yeah, we could lower the power. We're not getting quite the color change at the lower power range though. I think the move might be just moving up a lens size or two. I think I've got like a 250 or 260-ish that we could probably step up to and lower the ablation, but still keep the energy coming. And maybe that'll help us get a shinier, glossier green because there will be less ablation happening, but we're delivering the energy. One end was clearly more green. Yeah, one end had more blues and pinks to it. And then toward the end, at the 63 to 65 is kind of when it was like hitting its greenest. Actually, 61.7 and 62.8 kind of hit it like its most vibrant green. And it kind of went olive drab toward the end. So I will take very detailed pictures of all this and post it in Discord under Fiber. And I'll save this test pattern and I'll upload the other one too, either tonight or probably most likely in the morning because it's getting late. So maybe lower the power and slow the speed so there's less ablation. Yeah, we kind of messed around with that too. It just weren't really getting the results that I was expecting. And we were doing one pass all the way up to like 12 passes, and it never hit that green area. What could be changed but keep the effective temperature depth the same? Well, depth not so much, but just upping the lens size. You're delivering the same energy just over a broader area, so it's not ablating as much, but it's still delivering that energy. It seems like it needs the 60% power to get that color. It's just an unfortunate side effect that it's ablating. So I might be totally
Defocusing too could also help.
A defocus, definitely
If you can keep it
defocus.
consistent for repeatability.
Because that's basically the same thing. You're opening up your this is a 110 lens. You're opening up your dot size, so you're delivering the same energy just over a slightly broader area. So yeah, so I think that's where we're at for right now. I really do appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. It's been awesome. Did we lose Nathan? Well, he's still hanging around a few minutes ago. So let's see. Let me run through the comments and see if I missed anything. Go for
Nathan
pink.
says he had a blast.
Oh, good. Good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed. I enjoyed this. I'll try and maybe get a little bit earlier starts. Just I had to wait for my wife to go to work, and she needed some help with some stuff. So yeah, we can definitely go through all this again with a larger lens and let's see what we come up with. So thank you everybody for joining and hanging out with us. Thank you, Kyle, for being here to accompany me.
Thanks for letting me come and hang out.
Yeah,
it's always
for
fun.
sure, dude. Always an open invitation for you, sir. And with that, I will bid you guys a good night, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks.
Night, everybody.